Hello, this is Jennifer Berg coming to you from Christ Visible Church over in Monte Vista in San Antonio. We've got a fun little program here today, and like I said on the intro with the Kiko, I'm here with my friends at Christ Church. So playing the piano here is Josh Benninger. He is our wonderful music director at the church, and so happy to have him. And then we actually have another pianist behind the scenes, Barry Brake, who you can't see, who's doing our audio. Thank you so much, Barry and Josh, for teaming up with me today to bring this video to all of you out there, our Mid-Texas fans. All right, so top of the program. I promised that I was going to play something a little bit more classical and very cute, and this is definitely both of those. Although not strictly classical, it is from the late Romantic era. It is a little solo piece by Émile Paladilhe that's very, very fun to play. Now, the solo oboe repertoire, if you're not familiar with it, well, it's probably because there isn't a whole heck of a lot of it. So you're not missing a whole lot because there's not a whole lot there. But the few pieces that we have are actually very wonderful, this one included. So there's not a whole lot of chance I get to play it, and so that's why I picked it. Paladilhe, he was born around 1840, died in around 1920, and he wrote this piece right at the turn of the century. He loved writing for the voice, actually, and is more famous for some of his operas. So, with that in mind, when he wrote a piece for oboe, it sounds a whole lot like a recitative and aria from an opera. You decide, but that's what I think personally, and that's how I play it. It's very, very cute, and so I get to be a little coloratura soprano singing towards the second half of this after a very dramatic recitative. All right, so without further ado, Josh, let's play the Paladilhe. So I hope you enjoyed the Paladilhe. Next is something of a very different flavor, which is by Jacques Ibert. It's called Escales, Ports of Call. Now, actually, this is a piece for symphony orchestra, but of course, we're not going to play the original today. We're actually only going to play movement 2, which is written for the principal oboist to play as a soloist, along with the string section. And so that's been reduced to a piano part that Josh is kindly going to play today for us. So it's kind of fun. The second movement is Tunisia, where it evokes the snake charmer. And that's where he, in his travels, ran into people like that in the streets and in the marketplace. And so he thought of the oboe, because it's rather idiomatic for the oboe. Here, this is kind of what you would normally think of with a snake charmer. Right? So I actually have a fun little history with this piece. I was fortunate enough to be playing principal oboe up in Breckenridge, Colorado a number of summers ago. When I was in between, I guess, a student and a pro, I was playing in the orchestra there, and I got to play this piece, and I had to stand up. And if you've ever been to Colorado or been at 9,600 feet, you know that it's a little bit hard to breathe. And you've probably noticed already that it's a little hard to breathe when you're playing the oboe too. So that's actually a very fond memory of getting to play this piece at that altitude, especially because things, as you can imagine, with the air being very thin there, things don't vibrate very well. So this was actually probably my biggest challenge, but also one of my biggest joys of the summer to get to play this. So I'm very happy to play it for you today as well. So lastly, we're going to pick up a little hymn called Humbly We Adore Thee. And this is something that I do a lot, is play hymns here at this church, so I thought it was appropriate to end that way. Hymns, whether you're of this particular brand of religion, or any religion really, are just a beautiful way of expressing ourselves. And so hopefully you enjoy this beautiful expression. I thought I'd read the lyrics or the script of the first verse, just so that you get an idea, if you're not familiar with it, of what it says. It says, "Humbly I adore thee, verity unseen. Who thy glory hidest, 'neath these shadows mean. Low to thee surrendered, my whole heart is bowed, tranced as it beholds thee, shrined within the cloud." And this arrangement actually just came to us from a friend who actually loves arranging things and is a partner with us here in the Episcopal Diocese in West Texas. But he sent this to us. His name is Mark Slater, and so thank you, Mark, for giving us this piece.